Hey there nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and we are back with another episode of Way of the Underhive. This is a series that is dedicated to helping brand new players to Necromunda build their starting rosters and learn more about the game mechanics of their favorite skirmish game. In this episode, we will discuss a criminal alliance with the Imperial Imposters. We will discuss their strengths, their weaknesses, their fighters, their playstyle, and provide critical information that you can use in your future campaigns. So with that being said, let's get started on the criminal alliance with Imperial Imposters. Now, when making an alliance, especially with any criminal alliances, guild alliances, or even noble house alliances, you all benefit from a special rule called a band apart. This pretty much gives you all the benefits and none of the negatives of taking extra fighters into your gang. Not to mention, a lot of the fighter entourages that these alliances also provide have bodyguards, and these are really good for keeping the leader of the criminal alliance from harm, which makes them really good for getting things done and maintain that really good positive relationship with your criminal alliance. At the same time, it's also a really good way to balance out numbers in a scenario. They don't take up any crew slots, so bringing experienced fighters with better equipment without impacting your crews is always a good thing. And these are some of the positive impacts that you have on your campaign play when you make a criminal alliance with the Imperial Imposters. At the same time, there are also some negative impacts on your campaign play when you make a criminal alliance. First of all, you have to be an outlaw gang. You cannot be a law-abiding gang and maintain a criminal alliance with any of these criminal groups. So for example, if you're playing Paladin Enforcers, for example, you always have the law-abiding trait. You can never make an outlaw alliance. So that's some of the negatives on that. However, if you are playing a gang that always has the outlaw trait and you can never lose that ranking system on your gang, such as corpse grinder cults or redemptionists, that's not such a big deal though, because you can always make criminal alliances or noble house alliances. At the same time, your criminal alliance can't be easily broken with guard duty, ties, as well as drawbacks. Guard duty will limit the type of scenarios you can play depending on how you roll a d6 and whether you win or lose that roll, and you kind of forced to play certain scenarios you may not want to play. At the same time, tithes can really cut into your resources in terms of equipment, weapons, or even income, and some drawbacks could have some serious implications for your gang, such as deletion of fighters. So whenever it comes to making an alliance, regardless of what kind of alliance you're making, it's always a good idea to take a look at the negative and positive effects that you'll have and outweigh them. Which one means more important to you? Do the risks outweigh the reward, or does the reward outweigh the risks? And once you've made that determination, act accordingly. So now that we're done talking about positive and negative impacts on campaign play, let's go and talk about the tactical and strategic assets that an Imperial Imposters Alliance gives you. Now, tactical assets are game mechanics that affect individuals or combat on the battlefield. So these are things that are going to be adjusting and also changing the way you play every single time you play on the tabletop in a game of Necromunda. Now, on the other side, you have what are known as strategic assets. Strategic assets are game mechanics that impact a gang during the course of a campaign. So these are things like the pre-battle and post-battle sequences, territories, income, reputation points, equipment, that sort of thing. Now, when it comes to the Imperial Imposters are an excellent tactical assets because the fighter provides with its entourage on the battlefield. This is a good asset to use, especially in stealth-oriented missions. At the same time, the Imperial Imposters are also a really good strategic asset because it helps the host gang to avoid outlaw statuses in a campaign, which is very handy for generating a gang's reputation, also generating things what a gang can and can't do, especially during the course of a campaign. So now that we're done talking about the tactical and strategic aspects, let's go and talk about the benefits. So when it comes for benefits with making an alliance with the Imperial Imposters, it is an honorable word. This game mechanic allows you to remove the outlaw status on a gang, and not just your gang, that could be anybody's gang as well. And this is a extremely powerful ability, especially if you're using this in a Dominion or a Law and Misrule campaign. The reason why is because in a Dominion campaign as well as a Law and Misrule campaign, you have access to what are known as intrigues, and those intrigues that you accomplish can increase your reputation points during the course of a campaign. And in both settings, the gang that has the most reputation is the one that actually ends up winning the campaign. And having that ability to remove an outlaw status will allow you to take lawful as well as outlaw intrigues in a Law and Misrule campaign, or let you take house intrigues to make you a lawful gang. And so because that's really powerful in order to help you guys to establish reputation points in those campaign settings. And at the same time, you also get access to the Master Charlatan, and that's the fighter that this alliance provides you. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in detail here in a second. Now, at the same time, there are some drawbacks to making this alliance, and I'm going to be honest with you guys. The drawbacks that this alliance actually makes you do are not really drawbacks in my opinion. And let's go and talk about why. One of the big ones, of course, is Noble Ambitions, and that's basically like the guard duty game mechanic that you have on that one. What you do is you must roll a d6 before choosing a scenario. On a roll of 1, 2, or 3, you must play the looters, forgotten riches, or a caravan heist, and you must be the attackers in that scenario. Otherwise, you can, of course, just, if you pass that test, you can take whatever scenario you want, and then, of course, if you want to ignore this rule, you can test your alliance. However, being the attacker in a looters, forgotten riches, or a caravan heist scenario is actually really good because you can actually make a lot of money for making those kind of scenarios. So because of that, that's not much of a drawback because you're the attacker, you have all the advantages of actually being the attacker in those scenarios, and you can make a ton of cash and income for your gang. So that's not really much of a problem right there. Now another one you have, of course, is what's known as guilt by association, and pretty much how this rule works is that if the Master Charlatan is used in a battle, you must roll a d6. On a roll of a 6, the gang is outlawed. Now, this is where things get kind of wonky. Now, you could, of course, fail this roll, get that 6, and you automatically become outlawed because of the guilt by association. But the benefit of being in alliance with the Imperial Imposter is the honorable word, which means you can remove the outlaw status anytime that you want to. So because of that, it's kind of weird because like you can get the outlaw benefit put on outlaw being put on you because of the guilt by association, but immediately you just be like, nah, I'm just gonna take it off because I got the honorable word ability as well. So because of that, I think the real benefit of actually making an alliance with the Imperial Imposter is that there actually is no drawback. So that's something you might want to consider. Alright, so first of all, one of the big things you get from this group, of course, is the access to the Master Charlatan. So when you make a criminal alliance with the Imperial Imposters, you get one fighter, that's the Master Charlatan, and let's go and talk about him real quick. So for his stats for the Master Charlatan, you have a 5-inch movement, a 3+ weapon skill, 3+ explosive skill, you have 3 strength and toughness, 3 wounds, 4 initiative, 2 attacks, you have 7 leadership, 5 cool, 6 willpower, as well as 6 intelligence. So when it comes to the Master Charlatan, let's talk about their equipment. They're equipped with mesh armor right off the bat, so they have a 5-up armor save, so that's actually pretty good. At the same time, they also have a needle pistol as well as a stiletto knife, so you get those toxin traits and poison weapons, which are really going to be good against high toughness targets. You have 4 digital lasers, which makes them really good in close combat, and you also got a holochromatic field as well as a falsehood. Not to mention, you also come along with the infiltrate as well as step aside skills, which is really, really great for this character as well. This is the perfect stealth fighter for your gang, and the reason why that's the case is because you won't be targeted by ranged weapons until at least turn 2, which is great because of that falsehood. And even if you do that, you also could bet that he's also pretty survivable with that holochromatic field. It's going to make it very difficult to hit this guy with shooting at him. And at the same time, he's also got that really good mesh armor that's really going to help him out as well. And the best part about it too is that if you do play a scenario where there are sentry rules being put into place, the Master Charlatan can come in there and cause all kinds of problem. And the reason why is because those sentries that you can take out, the needle pistol and the slow knife, are completely silent. They'll take out a person with a toughness test, and it's really, really nice. At the same time, this fighter can also infiltrate in and also cause some really serious problems, and use a step aside skill to make him more survivable in close combat as well. So for example, if you're looking for an alliance that's really going to help you out with some stealth, the Master Charlatan is absolutely fantastic. Now, he doesn't pack as much punch as, say, the Fallen House Rebel Lord that you would get from a Fallen House alliance, but that's because the Rebel Lord is more like an in-your-face, very much aggressive, close combat-oriented build, whereas the Master Charlatan, though, is more of like your stealth assassin type character that you might want to use for your gang. So, in conclusion, the alliance with the Imperial Imposters is an excellent criminal alliance choice with excellent benefits and really no drawbacks, not really. Yes, you do have the Noble Ambitions drawback, but Looters, Forgotten Riches, and Caravan Heist, those are really good money-making missions. And at the same time, Guilt by Association, you can just eliminate that rule with your honorable word or special rule that you have for it, so it's really great as well. Now, while the Master Charlatan is not the most obvious perk to a game because right off the bat, it doesn't seem all that powerful, it is perhaps one of the most useful in a tactical situation because of all the stealth that you get with this character and things that they can do as well. So if stealth is a real issue for your gang, you can't go wrong with this criminal alliance. And that's why it's one of the best alliances you can possibly make, especially if you're an outlaw gang. So that's going to do it for this one, you guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is invaluable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest, greatest hobby news related to this channel. That's good to do it for this one, you guys. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out and stay classy.